Checkingson Sinclair, who finds a text message from his wife's ex-boyfriend on her phone, is Florian. Then the two have a heated dispute, and Checkingson does the unimaginable. 1 hour later, he contacts the police and tells them exactly what he's done to his wife, who is in the bedroom.
A murder has been committed.
Oh, a murder has been committed? By who?
By me, ma'am.
By you?
Yes, ma'am. I shot her in the head.
The most disturbing thing is Checkingson's steady tone of speech, because when he confesses himself, he shows no emotion. As reported by Checkingson, his wife got hostile, and he did everything in order to prevent from her. 1 year later, he was found guilty of his actions, and his trial and sentencing began in February 2017, and I couldn't discover anything else, so perhaps the final sentence is still being argued in court. Linda Stein, who had previously co-managed the Ramones, a well-known punk band before, was a wealthy New Yorker, and she subsequently changed the music industry to real estate and got Natavia Lowry to be her personal assistant. When Natavia stole roughly $30,000 from her boss, Linda came face to face with her about this, and things became more and more uncontrollable. Then Natavia took a large walking stick from Linda during the middle of the disagreement and, in her words,
So I took it and it's like, I just hit her with it.
Where about her body?
Like, right here. And I did it, like, a couple more times.
Natavia was such an upset girl that she can't recall how many times she used the walking stick before regaining her calm, despite the fact that she appears to be apologetic now, and the wealthy socialite was on the ground and no longer moving. Therefore Natavia was condemned to at least 32 years in prison for her actions. 2 New York fishermen are on Lake Champlain when they see a large object causing interference in the water behind them. Immediately a large creature approaches the surface but never appears.
The further mystery of Champ, a legend that swims just below the surface and just out of camera range.
It is said that it's only a small part of a bigger creature, and the lake gives around 20 sightings per year, and this recording was even verified by 2 former FBI agents. I'll conclude for yourself, although there is not enough evidence of video to convince me completely. According to the description of this video, these creatures such as mysterious worm, which were immediately taken to the nearest marine research institution but was never identified correctly, were allegedly found by several dockworkers in Germany. Should you think this is the mouth of the creature here, tell me, or if so, it looks big enough to swallow the arm. They took this video in 2011, but I could not find information follow-up. Should you know another thing about this video, then tell me if it's real and if this creature has ever been identified. This strange sea creature, which had 5 feet in length and seems to have a turtle-like head at the end of a serpentine body,
is what a man named Jeff Warren says he found on Wolf Island on Friday. That's just north of St.
was found in March 2018 in Florida near St. Simon's Island. They discover in March 2018, and I could find the most recent article in which scientists have not yet concluded whether this was a deception or not, which makes me more interested. A YouTuber named Contour Malarkby and his friends, who watched in amazement when creatures were moving quickly past them and then fully drowned back into the water without a trace. Boating in Northern Ireland when a creature appears part of the water and easily maintains speed. Maybe I'm not right, however, it seems like this could be the top of the creature's head. In this case, I can't even imagine how big other monsters must have been, or it could be a very large turtle shell, even something that doesn't live at all. They took this video more than 3,700 feet underwater. Starts with a mysterious symbol that slid at the bottom of the ocean, which is quite strange, but everything is even more strange after suddenly changing. At any rate, it is quite curious about the study of a camera or the lights flashing. It seems to be a kind of shaped blob with glittering light on its head, and apparently, it will look closer. Although others insist that it is the wrong color with other differences, someone in the comments section says it's a sea ctenophore. A robot camera took a video about a fish school swims in front of the camera, and suddenly one of the fish is nailed by a spear in front of the camera when surveying an old oil tanker, but something swam quickly to collect fish shortly after that. This video is believed to show the possibility of some kind of advanced marine creature that uses a tool for hunting, and finally, there is no reason for someone to become underwater hunting so far with a spear, and whatever moves in front of the camera is too fast to be someone, and CGI is a clear conclusion. After hearing rumors of a lunatic approaching random individuals, two buddies explore a park in North Hollywood and they quickly become bored and decide to have some fun by attempting to test the visual range of their night vision camera. He instructs his companion to move back till she is hardly visible.
It's on night vision.
Okay. How's this?
Keep going.
She'll soon be nothing more than a black shadow against the night sky. Something that has been following him the entire while takes her into the darkness when she is a safe distance away.
Just stop playing around. This is not funny.
Should this video be real, whatever it is that snatches her has unimaginable strength and speed and it scoops her up off her feet as if she were nothing, which makes me question how huge this creature is and how it moves so quickly without making a sound. This slow-motion video shows a man peeling around a bend as quickly as he can, and you can soon realize why he's traveling so quickly, and in the chase, a massive cheetah bounces off the wall. We don't get to witness what happens next because the video ends and perhaps this cheetah was brought in fresh from the jungle or it was maintained as a pet until it simply snapped one day. I wonder the individual fleeing had a happy ending. Nevertheless, I have no idea why he would have a camera set up to exactly capture this moment, so perhaps it was staged after all. Should you have any other background knowledge that could help us put this video in context, tell me what you believe is going on here. A teen who pursues her for a few steps before lunging forward to grab her off the curb is strolling down the street in North Hollywood when she notices considerably an older man following her. Should you pay attention to this part, you'll notice that he was invading her personal space enough to cause her to flee, and I'm guessing she was yelling for help when he decided to back off. According to what I could find, no one was ever named or arrested and the suspect is still at large and could be doing the same thing somewhere else for all we know. This terrifying new video editing technology will undoubtedly be unlike anything you've ever seen before because the person on the left is real while the person on the right is still an image from a video. Taking notice when the person on the left manipulates the other image in real time will show us how the technology looks when it's in use.
My first time on stage was in 1998.
There is no doubt that it will replicate the movements of another person as well as compel him to do and say whatever you want. The average individual has no means of knowing the difference between a real video and one that is being altered in real time. I could make a video of you saying whatever I wanted if I had this technology, and you could do the same to me if you wanted to. Thomas Gilmer, who gets a good deal on a computer, and as opens the box, instantly sees why the seller was so eager to part ways, owns a computer store, and frequently buys used computer equipment on the cheap from his customers. The inside is coated in the carcasses of thousands of dried cockroaches from top to bottom, and want to add insult to injury, a solitary living spider travels across the vile bug wasteland.
Look at that.
The stench of this machine seems to be equally as revolting as the appearance, cause a single living roach might easily infest this building, just as it did the residence of the previous owner. Therefore all I know is that Thomas had better pray that none of the bugs were still alive and had escaped. This commercial terrified kids in the early 1990s and continues to terrify people now, and all starts with a random adult staring down at you from an odd angle, his eyes dilated, but I've never seen this guy before in any game, and I have no idea what he's doing here.
We are Nintendo.
Should this be some sort of new mascot, it comes across as strange and uninviting, and all of the other characters lose their welcoming appeal and flock to his side. Were you a typical parent in the 1990s who had no idea what a Nintendo was? I doubt this scene would persuade you to buy one because of the strange and slightly insane low quality, so this entire notion is so far off from the picture of a family-friendly environment.
New worlds. You cannot beat us. We are Nintendo. We challenge foreigners.
That Nintendo is always attempting to project, and I'm not sure what they were hoping to achieve with this video. Todd T., who is too far away to make out any details, films a big humanoid figure descending his neighbor's chimney, but the monster appears to be far too enormous to be a bird or any other animal. It appears to be human-sized, however in less than a minute, the unknown monster stuffs itself down the chimney, after which I'm presuming it roams the interior of the house for whatever it can find, and maybe no one knows what happened to Todd's neighbor. This clip was recorded in the woods in Conklin, Canada. While a group of workers were doing their outdoor job, suddenly a violent sound was heard. If this sound is real and loud enough, it can cause the birds to fly away or it can shake the camera. However, this kind of sound can actually be real, since it's hard to do such fine audio editing while using a low-resolution camera. Viewers have come up with many theories for this phenomenon, such as aliens or the souls of the dead. And the true source of this sound has not been identified yet. This video was recorded by Laurie Lee Craig and her husband.
Okay, because it's like you can't see it, and then suddenly it's there. And there's no...
Both of them felt something was wrong when they saw their baby crying all day, and there was no sign that she would stop crying right away.
Stairs. Can you move up a little bit? So even if you stood on the stairs, because there's the handprint, you can't reach it.
You could hear her crying in the background. They looked around the house for problems and discovered a mysterious handprint on their wall. This is truly an impossibility.
This thing is 6 feet above the stairway.
Both Laurie Lee Craig and her husband tried to reach the location of the handprint, but both could not reach it. It makes the viewer assume that the handprint must be left by some flying entity.
Come here, Isla. What's scary?
Emma breaks out in a cold sweat when entering her parents' room because she believes she notices a bad man in there with them, and when her mother has her point out where the person is, then she says it's in a dark closet. The mother examines the closet. She doesn't see anything, but she seems to get an uneasy feeling that matches her daughter's emotions.
What, baby? Want Daddy? Okay, go get Daddy.
The child scares and her face turns grey. And everyone knows that she does not dare to move without her mother's help. This video makes me both dark and honest, but ovs, the mother felt a presence as well, or else she would not have posted this video with the headline 2-year-old girl sees ghost again. I need more information before making a definitive decision, but please tell me if you believe Emma saw something that her parents didn't see that night. 10. This video captures the live broadcast of a female reporter in 2010. However, the report caused a huge wave of controversy among viewers.
Forces and protecting the population and minimizing civilian casualties have long been a cornerstone of the counterinsurgency.
As you can see, during the live broadcast, the reporter's eyes were completely transformed, from dark brown to a much lighter shade of blue. And more frighteningly, the lower eyelid area appears a large dark circle. This leads many people to think that this is demonic possession. But also many people think that this is simply a technical error that has caused the female reporter's face to be so deformed. However, so far it has not been possible to explain the specific reason that caused such an error. Downright Dives is a dumpster diving crew that scours the trash for discarded valuables and goes through a series of dumpsters without incident, usually finding rotting food. While rummaging through the remaining few dumpsters, one of them finds an unexpected thing.
No. Moved in there, guys. Guys. Moved in there. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking.
And both of them don't believe there is someone at the bottom of the dumpster, although the camera doesn't capture a clear image.
That box right there just moved. I'm not even joking. That one. No.
You can perceive a man show up from beneath the boxes that he owns everything in the bin. A dossing man who pursued him and even got into a violent struggle off camera, yet I haven't decided on this one because we never get to see the homeless individual in question. Living in a dumpster is a standard image of dossing people, so this experience is unlikely. Cryptid Hunter and his companions have returned to a cave they believe is spooked, and this time, they're employing a paranormal investigation technique I've never seen before. They transport dolls into the cave, which they believe is already spooked, and are interested in how the spirits in the dolls react to the ghosts in the cave. They make use of long thin rods with which the spirits might react to questions.
Please point the rod to the most haunted doll that's inside his mind. Right, there it goes again.
And they appear to decide to forego the rods and make their presence known in a much manner.
What the was that?
Because the smooth cave walls had minimal traction, the doll may have just toppled over on its own, then it could have been pushed over by an invisible spirit, but it moved by some way. Those are the only two why and wherefore I have. Mega Skelly 11, a YouTuber, who has been witnessing strange paranormal activity in their home. Sometimes it's as simple as a potted plant wobbling on its own, and other times it's far more sinister. According to Mega Skelly 1, it is a demon, but in my opinion, there is simply too much going on at once to easily fake, and there is no indication that this is a setup, and please tell me if you think this is true or if you have a better explanation. A rainy day in Bradford, Pennsylvania. Bulldog, a YouTuber, is in his backyard with his girlfriend, and they're shooting random videos and talking about nothing when they come upon something that makes them realize they're not so alone after all.
Whoa, that was weird. I just saw something run across the screen.
Liars.
Some kind of smoke or mist manifests and quickly changes into the shape of a person taking a few quick steps before dissipating completely. Bulldog thinks that it seems to be a runner, and I totally agree that it does resemble the upper torso and shoulders of a runner, and could say that it appears to me that the figure is missing a head. High Gear and a friend are cycling in the Russian woods when one of them nearly loses their head. His friend scooches just in time to prevent from a steel cable that has been tightly wrapped around two trees. If he had stayed put out of the path, the tripwire would have caused pretty serious damage. However, it is a trap set by a madman lurking in the woods. As he discusses what they should do next, you can see the rage and annoyance, and even hide in the woods for a while and exacting vengeance on anyone who returns to the location. They eventually make a decision to take weapons from the trap and take the wire cord with them. Whomever laid this trap must still be out there waiting for their next opportunity, so I hope High Gear and his friends stay safe. Gaurvazone, a YouTuber from India, is scoping out a rumored haunted route, and they sit in their car and wait in the dark to see what happens next. I was starting to think the video could be fake until I noticed one part in particular. What appears to be two yellowish eyes briefly stare at him before disappearing. This could be a backscattering of the car's brake lights, but they should be red, not yellow, and I'm also not sure what would capture the light's reflection because they're on a lonely road in the middle of nowhere, and the strange eyes, if that's what they were, vanish and never appear again, even when the cameraman zooms in for a closer look. A YouTuber named Sons the Skeleton 101 thinks he may have seen a monster lurking in his yard. The out-of-focus object looks like it could be a creature on all fours, but I'm just not sure. It doesn't appear to be switching, and maybe a pile of dirt, and Skeleton 101 ran back into his abode. So tell me what you think it was and whether you think he was in any genuine danger at the time. Michael Edelstein made a record this strange chance meeting with his phone in 2016 to demonstrate that it was spooked, and many people have agreed with him since. But what's strange is that the phone appears to wait until Michael is nearly finished recording before dialing a completely different number followed by 2 sevens and an asterisk. I'm not sure whether this is abnormal or not, because it could be a glitch or even water on the screen, and please tell me if you've ever had anything strange happen to your phone. And, if you're a phone technician, tell me what the chances are of this happening to so many buttons at once. This region accounts for the top half of the country's production at one stage. After large quantities of toxic materials, biological products of mines and zinc were found throughout the town of Pitcher was forced to close. Numerous people used to live here, while the number is now less than 20. And maybe the creature is one of the few remaining inhabitants. You never know what strange thing you will encounter when you cast yourself in the murky canals of Florida, neither does Pete.
Got him again. Right out of that tunnel he came. Oh, I'm trying to get my bath.
He had no intention of making a scary fishing video, but while spinning with the fish, the fishing line was cut by a creature. This creature came close to the surface in 6 minutes 44 seconds, even though everything under the water was still motionless. An indistinct silhouette was captured by the camera, but at least we can see that it looks like a crocodile. However, one thing was clear. Something scary was lurking in the water. He'd better not stand so close. What do you think about that? Bloodzack12, a YouTuber, is researching a rumored haunted forest. Then he and his pal find a strange discarded opera mask sitting on top of an old dirty clothes pile when they come across. They make a decision to take the opera mask home and look for clues in it while coming across it hung in the trees. When Bloods Act 12 observes something crouched over in front of them, the person who wears in black glances up at him from the thickets and tails them. Because of the movie-like sound effects, I am different to believe this real video, so tell me if you think they were being pursued by a lunatic lurking in the woods or if the third person was really a friend. A YouTuber named Encounters26 is fishing late at night in Bishopville, Maryland when he comes across something unnatural in the forest.
Do you see it where?
A silent hulking figure makes its way through the murky swampland, apparently trying to get away quickly without being noticed. Encounters26 believes this to be some sort of lizardman creature, which would explain why the creature does not make any noise as it tries to escape the flashlight's glare. In my opinion, this was just a person in a suit until it turned away from the camera, which has sharp white scales growing out of its back, somewhat like a dinosaur, and its arms appear to be far too thin to be human.
Holy...
Johnny Paranormal, a YouTuber, chooses to explore the iconic Aokigahara forest as well and amplifies the sound of his microphone in order to capture any ghostly sounds, and he is astonished by what he captures. For example, tell me if you hear a demonic growl here. Or a quick coughing noise here, despite Johnny Paranormal being all alone. Or a second person quietly whispering the word help.
How's this?
These strange sounds follow him throughout the entire video, which lasts around an hour and a half, so I believe it is far more editing than most people would be willing to put into a phony film. What concerns me is the demonic noise that accompanies him everywhere.
It's saying my battery's going flat. Again.
I hope nothing followed Johnny Paranormal out of the woodland if he was truly surrounded by the supernatural. Bryn psyched up to hike into Mount Fuji's famed Aokigahara forest that it doesn't take long for him to come upon a dark and scary entrance. He discovers an abandoned bike and the open packaging for a kitchen knife is lying on the seat. Unfortunately, this person came here with a single goal. A while later, he discovered an empty bag with only a message inside. He tries to read the Japanese writing and comes up short.
It says 1211. I can't quite make out. I think this is somebody's name just here, and I'm not sure what this means.
If you could read the message, then please share what it says with me so that we'll know once and for all. A crow caws right overhead when he has completed.
Later.
It's an ominous sign for sure, so Bryn decides to get out of there before anything bad happens. This video appears to have been shot in the 1990s while a child is sitting in a high chair happily learning about the numerous names of different parts of the body.
Where is... Where's the ghost?
The child mumbles about a ghost when an invisible item follows, but I believe he said something along the lines of, "There's the ghost," or something like if he's seen it before and has been expecting to see it again. The child thinks for a bit and then says something else that's really weird.
Daddy, kill him? Yeah.
It almost sounds like he's asking if his dad got the ghost, or something like that. Maybe we can find what's going on in the video's background together, but things return to normal for a while, and it appears that the paranormal encounter is over. He feels confused and looks around again, saying something utterly incomprehensible. Even if we knew who the child in this video was, I doubt they would recall anything useful. This video was allegedly shot during a family meal in Japan when a girl speaks and points behind the camera, but I'm not sure what she's saying.
Mama, Oji-chan ga kita yo.
All I know is that there is a grainy outline of a tall man standing in the doorway in the reflection of a nearby mirror. If you notice carefully, you can see a patch of dark hair on its head, but no face, and it can just be scripted because the timing is so perfect. Tell me if you believe this child was an actress, or this is a true story. Carly Wahaka has a 2-year-old kid who refuses to go into a specific area of the house, then she stands at the door, looking around timidly with her hand over her mouth, not even daring to go inside when her mother asks.
Wanna come in here? Okay, it's okay. Mommy will come out.
Years later, when the daughter knew to speak, she recalled a scary man who resided in the closet with flaming eyes and a red and black face. Tell me if you believe what she saw in the video or if the child is simply making up a terrible narrative to fool her parents. Her lad mentioned a kid named Marcus who would occasionally try to play with him, and everyone in the family would acquire deep red scrapes around the arms for no apparent cause.
Is he on the stairs? Is he standing there?
Yes.
Where?
When asked to identify the man on the stairs, the daughter's mother is intrigued and wants to learn more about her daughter's reaction.
Where's the man? Where?
Man.
Show Mama where's the man.
In a British accent, her daughter says man stairs, and if the paranormal implications weren't so horrifying, it seems to be quite good. Finally, she's describing being watched by a stranger. You can see the girl becoming increasingly terrified to look up from her toys and does not want to see the man by the stairs anymore, albeit I have no idea what he looks like or what he's up to. The lass doesn't appear to be acting in any way that suggests she is fabricating a story, so I am inclined to believe this possible ghost sighting is genuine. Susan Payton 1 is enjoying some quality time with her family when she and her husband both notice something grab the attention of their infant toddler.
What am I doing?
The child's face changes from amusement to confusion as he apparently turns to watch something pass by. A few moments later, an orb silently appears, and something seems to move the child and potentially exit the room just as the children's song begins to sing "Say Bye Bye." Sailing Latitude, a YouTube channel, posted a video of a group of people sailing around the Italian island of Sardinia. Suddenly, a terrible thunderstorm hit and they had to face a dangerous situation on their own. The wind was blowing too hard and the thunder was extremely violent. They had no choice but to try to weather this storm. The most experienced navigator can estimate the two areas most hit by lightning. They decided to steer the boat between these two areas skillfully. However, the wind could change direction at any time and could bring the thunderclouds closer to them. Being trapped in a storm like this is an overwhelming experience. Like in this video, these people were trapped in this storm for 10 minutes and 15 seconds. In the end, they made it through and the sky cleared as if nothing had happened before. A man walked into a gas station and asked to give him money. However, many customers who were buying there, together, joined forces to restrain him until the authorities came. This can prove the effectiveness of group defense when everyone joins forces to protect each other. What is needed in this situation is to have one brave person step out first and others to follow suit. However, if no one follows you, things will be terrible. Stephanie Jenkins's kid jumps from smiling to scared in an instant while she is recording him at the bottom of some stairs.
Whoa.
And the kid appears to have seen something, but she takes a few steps into the next room and fail to remember about it. However, some people have reported seeing what appears to be an orb float above them. Some people consider a mote of dust, but others think it is a long-lost relative paying their respects to the next generation of kin. James Parr captures his toddler nephew shrieking in response to something he sees on the wall. Which goes on for a long time. He doesn't know what the child is thinking, but it appears to be a mix of worry and joy. Then he looks back away several times as if he is afraid of anything around. The kid appears to be interested in an otherwise blank wall, which is unusual, but I am not convinced that this video is paranormal because the kid could just be fooling around with his own shadow. What do you think is going on in this situation? Christopher Carlson was skiing in Switzerland when an avalanche suddenly struck right behind him. This is truly a situation that makes it difficult to react in time. He was completely buried and trapped under 6 feet of snow. If we were in this situation, we would think we wouldn't be able to survive. However, Christopher made the right decision to do nothing. He lay still. He didn't try to dig to get out, nor did he scream due to the fear of lack of oxygen. He tried to save energy so he could wait as long as possible for help. Until he noticed the snow above him moving. He shouted to let his friends know they were looking in the right place. After a while of digging, he saw the light again and his friends who had tried to save his life. A clerk was charging a customer in Japan. Suddenly the electricity was lost and the ground began to shake. The customer didn't know what to do but stood still when the clerk immediately pulled the customer inside the counter and used her hand to cover the customer's head and hide under the counter. As soon as the two took a position to hide under the counter, the glass wine bottles fell off and were broken right at the location where the customer was standing before. Fortunately, the store was standing and both were safe. The clerk promptly pulled the customer into a safe hiding place at the last seconds before the glass bottles fell. Buraz Bash is a YouTuber. His entire neighborhood is inundated with water and people are still trapped in it. He's trying to stay optimistic. A real crisis happens when water in the backyard begins to flood the house. This YouTuber bravely records the scene to relieve stress. However, I notice the TV is still on. Although it is far from the water level, it is best to turn off the TV. Because it can electrify the water they are standing in.
You know, get the water around your house. Not that bad.
When the water level is too high, they get out by canoe and rows to dry place. Without this canoe, they could have been given with support and assistance from neighbors. Delbert Latham and his son were riding on a roller coaster but suddenly his son couldn't sit still and fell off to the floorboards. The boy said to his father in a panicked voice, "My seatbelt." Delbert was able to hold the boy's waist.
I got you. It's not, hey, you're fine, I promise, okay?
The only thing that could keep the boy from flying off was his father's arm. Delbert tried to hold onto his son as tightly as he could because the major fall was approaching.
I got you. Hey, you're fine.
Most parents would be freaking out. But Delbert was very calm. Imagine how bad things could be. Fortunately, Delbert was very quick to hold his son. The operator was aware of the seat belt failure but still let everyone sit on this terrifying roller coaster ride. The boy must not be the only one with this bad experience. A YouTuber posted this video of her nighttime sleepwalking activities in 2014, and complies with Anne, and she can record herself jolting up while still entirely asleep using a webcam night after night. People have argued in the comments about the authenticity of this video, but Anne swears she still does it every night to this day. I think this is real footage because sleepwalking is a well-documented behavior and it is said that Anne finds the footage amusing, but there's something unsettling about her blank stare into the camera while she's completely asleep. Gavin Free and Meg Turney, a married couple who have achieved a great deal of success on YouTube, especially the slow-mo guys channels, but one admirer developed an unhealthy fascination with Meg Turney in particular. Christopher Giles had written hundreds of personal letters to himself about the married pair, mainly focused on getting rid of Gavin, whom he considered as a direct competitor to Meg. He can't hold back his anger and crack a crib to look for them, but Gavin and Meg successfully hide in the closet and phone the cops. Christopher pops at the house for a long time before giving up, at which point he contacts the police at the front door, and I'm just grateful the cops arrived in time because I have no doubt he would have returned later to do the same thing. Kyle Plush, 16, contacts the Cincinnati Police Department for assistance after the backseat of his minivan flips over and pins him alive, and he is stuck and unable to use his hands. This is what he tells the dispatcher.
I'm in help! Help! Help!
Police can't determine his location, and everyone begins to question if the call was a hoax. Listen to this part and tell me if there is any way that you would think this could be fake.
Don't have much time left to tell my mom that I love her if I die. This is not a joke. This is not a joke.
Tell me whether you believe, but the dispatcher allegedly assumed it was a hoax and failed not to convey vital information to patrol cars that may have assisted in his capture. Kyle Plush discovered crushed in the parking area of his school by his father 6 hours later, and please tell me whether you believe the dispatch operator should be charged or not based on what you've seen. A small object crosses the path of this Great Dane. You notice that this dog is astonished and perplexed by what it's viewing. The animal freezes and goes into hunting mode, but I suppose the dog could be reacting to an insect or something, but it is hard to explain. That happens about 1 minute and 23 seconds into the movie. The headlights of a passing car illuminate a shadowy person running from left to right at this precise instant. Many people believe this is a spiritual entity manifesting as a shadow person, together with the dog's conduct, which appears to provide a compelling case for the paranormal. Jay Breezy, a YouTuber, works as a security guard at a nursing home in Chicago, and when he claimed that his job was spooked, no one appeared to believe him. Another security person discovered it for themselves one day, and his co-worker notices a cool presence in the room. When he looks to see something off camera and pauses moving, he is busy straightening his hair, and if you don't notice to the bottom right corner of the screen, you can miss it.
There you go. See it? And watch him. He got cold. It got cold. He was like...
I prepared to dismiss CGI until I noticed the security guard's astonishing reaction.
He like, what the f? He stopped. He looked like, what the f?
It seems that he sees something first in the doorway and then walks along the corridor. Dom Soto is filming a vlog in his bedroom when he is interrupted by an urgent knock at the front door. Then he actually opens the door for this masked man, which leads me to believe that this video was staged because most individuals would have kept the door shut. Maybe he didn't think it was serious at the time, or perhaps he couldn't understand what the person was saying behind their mask, so in any cases, they have a short exchange.
Let me in.
No,
I'm your biggest
get
fan.
off my property, dude.
Dom Soto persuades his greatest fan to go, and realizes that he won't shuck off this invader without the assistance of the police, therefore he doesn't turn on the video and call them. Jake Wardell, biking with a friend before they're recognized, is a local star and famous YouTuber. They have a short conversation, and whether he is a fan or is upset over their dirt biking, but in any case, they still run away. Jake must have realized he'd follow them if they tried to flee. Fortunately, Jake takes the high road, and the scenario does not end tragically, especially considering that one man was determined to completely obstruct their progress. William Hernandez accuses the red truck pulls over in front of his house every day and monitors him and his wife, but it seems to be difficult, so he installs a CCTV system. The next day, the red pickup parks across the street just as they pull into the driveway, and William takes a calm photo of the driver's license plate, and the truck speeds away. He's made multiple updates to his channel after the event, but whether he could figure out who was spying on him and his family. Chile has graciously allowed her admirers to visit her during spring break the day, and they are courteous and considerate except for one visitor. They're having a normal conversation and he seems fine at first, but then he starts eyeing something off camera a few times. After a while he just goes for it.
Oh God,
Wait, that's my purse!
The purse taker doesn't make it far and is quickly wrestled to the ground by one of Chili's friends named Tito. They discover a stolen watch. Luckily, he capitulates quickly without any difficulty. Then they decide not to contact the cops because they are incredibly forgiving. Overall, everyone is believed to be fortunate not to have been injured, and Chili is more cautious about who she welcomes into her home. Nathan Tube Your Life lives in a secret mountain area, which doesn't stop someone from presumably locating his residence and paying him a visit. They leave a very frightening message with the personal phone number for Nathan to reach out to when he was outside. In the meantime, they were practically following Nathan, and I think it would be incredibly intriguing if someone could evaluate the handwriting and tell me more about the personality of this prospective stalker. Nathan gets strongly braver to reach out to his fan, and you could imagine that the situation becomes creepy.
I'm watching you right now. Bro, I've been watching you for like the past 2 weeks. I'm in the tree right beside your room. I'm waiting.
In fact, he doesn't see any other people around, which seems everyone disappears. If they wanted Nathan to know where they were, they could crack, however, and I think it is one of his friends or else some random strange messing with his mind. He notices a black SUV rushing away from that he has never seen before, so perhaps someone was observing his every move from afar. Christina Grimmie, a well-known singer, was found after a video of her covering Miley Cyrus went viral on YouTube, and she came in third place on The Voice. She is overjoyed to be singing at a concert in Orlando, Florida, and she takes to social media to make a special announcement, but a psychotic fan named Kevin Loibel decided to attend her show. He walks up to her concert after driving 120 miles and fires 3 rounds at point-blank range before taking his own life. They knew he had watched her movies every waking second for almost a year before doing this, so I would hope that if somebody you know begins to exhibit the same characteristics, you will seek professional help for them. James' niece, a YouTuber, has been uploading videos for more than 3 years, and during those 3 years, a 30-year-old man named Michael Lieb gets completely captivated with him and begins soliciting him on various social media sites. The messages gradually turn dark and discuss removing James' niece from his home, and he texted his mother, saying, "I'm going to steal your son," and other terrible things. He has spent a 9-hour driving to their place more than once, and they notify the police when James's parents notice a man loitering about their house. The police launch an immediate investigation using James' phone to contact Michael and persuade him to return to the residence. When returning, he is apprehended on the spot, and Michael Lieb is eventually sentenced to probation and no jail time. Sung Hui Cho gabbed a spree at Virginia Tech on April 16, 2007, and killed 32 students, and he first came in West Ambler Johnston Hall at 7 a.m. and quickly took the lives of 2 students. The crazy student stole away and changed into clean clothing when emergency services and police arrived, and he stopped at the post office and mailed a package to NBC News. The video he sent just before returning to campus and killing over a dozen other innocent kids later that day.
You had 100 billion chances in the ways to have avoided today, but you decided to spill my blood. You forced me into a corner and gave me only one option. I did it for them. I did it to make you stop what you did to me, to the future generations of the weak and the defenseless.
As you know, his best effort to logically make clear himself results in a bizarre semi-religious diatribe that no one can entirely comprehend. Even his face is pointed with the camera squarely. He is unable to explain the reason why he did this, despite his frantic desire for the public to understand. Christian Romero, who was accused of murdering his father and another man in their Arizona apartment in 2008.
Shot him twice, and after I shot him the one time, he was still moving, so I think I shot him again.
Was an 8-year-old boy, and in Arizona, anyone aged 8 and above can be legally impeached for a crime. Therefore, believe it or not, there was a grilling. Police could have Christian confess to pulling the trigger on the 2 grown-up people, yet his affirmation remains contentious owing to his young age, and it is said that the 8-year-old did not understand the interrogation and was merely coerced into saying what the cops wanted to hear. Christian was condemned to a ward and lived there until the age of 15, when he was placed in a raising home and permitted to go to public school. But I couldn't discover anything about the reason why he did this, so if anyone has any information about this intriguing case, please let me know what motivated Christian Romero to commit such a horrific deed on that day. When 25-year-old John Paul Suleski decided to arbitrarily kill innocent jogging in Fort Smith, Arkansas, he was enraged with the world, and John recalls the jogger's initial reaction to what transpired when the cops asked for more information.
And then he drowned, and I shot him again and again.
Throughout the police questioning, John's specific intentions appear to change. Sometimes he appears angry, but then appears melancholy and talks about how much is wrong in the world. It appears that he believes that ending a person's life is hospitable because the world is horrible, and he was condemned to life in prison without the possibility of parole throughout this section of the interview. The YouTube channel TFIL Group is on a guided tour of Egyptian sites when they decide to sneak away and do their own investigating, then divide into smaller groups to cover more terrain. TFIL finds an unusual discovery in a random pile of adjacent wreckage, which he swiftly displays to the rest of his gang when they reunite, called a portion of someone's backbone.
Anybody else want to hold a skull?
People don't like to see
seriously?
Because not allowed.
Whoa.
Don't send it for internet, this one, please.
Huh?
You don't send it from...
If this is an original TFIL discovery, clean it, and pile it in a mound for later. Then their tour leader eventually discovers human remains, which the group silently studies and grudgingly passes around. Construction workers in Augsburg were astounded to discover a World War II massive gadget, which weighed 1.8 tons and could have easily gone off just from making contact with their heavy digging equipment in one Christmas morning. Over 54,000 people were promptly evacuated from the city by police, and according to experts, the blast radius would have been nearly 1 mile in all directions. Charles M., a YouTuber, is looking at an ancient mansion for sale in Las Vegas owned by the mafia, and he discovers a fake wall in the kitchen and descends an old set of steps to a secret basement during the house tour. A white room appeared at the end of the basement with 2 smaller chambers about the size of a closet. They all give him a horrible vibe because the 2 smaller rooms are quiet and gloomy, especially the doors have knobs on the exterior. A solitary expended bullet casing appeared to be hidden inside the ventilation shaft of one of the rooms, and I'm not sure why the mob would have needed a soundproofed area from which no one could escape. Michael Delaney, a YouTuber, follows it and soon finds himself hovering above a rattlesnake den. Flies his drone when he stumbles upon a wild animal in the brush. Michael sees their natural environment. Suddenly, one of them feels intimidated enough to respond. The snake managed to dislodge the camera. Michael understands he'll have to reach into an underground pit of snakes or want to see his GoPro again, and the situation becomes a lot more serious. Before pulling it to safety, he balances the GoPro on the end of the stick. Then he's standing in tall grass, and a wayward rattler may easily have bitten him. Tell me whether you think you'd be courageous enough to do the same thing, or you'd leave your camera with the reptiles. A construction crew in Dorset discovers a stretch of ordinary-looking property that hides an old secret while they are working on a new road where a seemingly unremarkable location is the final resting place of no less than 51 unidentified bodies. One pile had only the bodies, the other contained all of the grimacing heads perfectly organized in rows, so through DNA testing, scientists were eventually able to discover that these were the remains of Scandinavian Vikings who were taken in combat and had their heads removed. By analyzing evidence of minute food particles left within their teeth, scientists were able to determine their country of origin, yet, the construction workers only knew that they had discovered scores of bodies without heads. I imagine what they thought as they tried to make sense of the gruesome scene. Metal Detecting 24, a YouTuber, discovers a little metal trash can buried a few feet underneath, is in the woods doing what his screen name suggests. Let's open the lid and see what someone might have left him in the middle of nowhere, and he pulls the trash can out of the hole, bracing himself for the worst. The head of a woman mannequin with a blade attached to the right side is inside the trash can, and both of them are smeared in red paint. I'm not sure why somebody would want to make this and hope that it is merely an imaginative artistic expression, rather than the inner workings of a demented psychopath lurking in the woods. In any case, Metal Detecting 24 is terrified at this stage, even stays to document the occurrence for a little longer. A demolition crew in Philadelphia comes across a historic and tragic discovery while constructing new flats in parking, swiftly shifts to an excavation operation, with enormous cranes lifting casket after casket out of the ground. These caskets date back more than 300 years and contain authentic human remains, and all of them have been transported to a different cemetery sometime in the 1860s. To save money, whoever was in charge of the operation lied, which means that for hundreds of years, people have been walking on top of these unmarked caskets without realizing it happened somewhere near 2nd and Arch Streets in Old City, so tell me if you happen to walk by them. Alonzo Perez is accused of killing another man, and is currently being held in a stifling North Vegas Police Department interrogation room. Finally, he is trepidatious that looks for a moment before deciding to make one more attempt to flee. Alonzo thinks quickly and makes use of his entire body weight against the cuffs to run away. However, he sits for a long time and makes an effort to make it appear as if he is still bound. In my opinion, his first goal was to jump the following person who didn't leave, but he gets a better idea after looking up at the ceiling, and then Alonzo gets to his feet and effortlessly removes a square drywall panel. He has some insulation ripped up before traveling into the rafters. After that, he miraculously dropped through the ceiling into an empty hallway and silently exited through the back door, and authorities apprehended him 4 days later and are now seeking the death penalty. Jerome Cancel, who was of no fixed abode, was 24 years old when observing Kevin Pravia, a Pace University student, that returning home from a bar one morning. Then Kevin got Jerome to sell him something, and Jerome agreed to accompany him to the apartment to see Saw. Jerome stole all of the student's possessions when he flaked out a short time later. Then he suddenly came up with a new idea.
I grabbed a plastic bag and I put it in his mouth, and I held his nose with a pillow over his face, with my knee on him, and I finished strangulating him.
The major reason why Jerome was doing is that was lack of enthusiasm, because he displayed little remorse and even laughed in response to the court's imposed sentence of 25 years to life during his trial. Juliuskitty has a kid who can't quit giggling, and looking up at the location on the ceiling seems and Lort for no apparent reason that someone or something is performing for her, but it is clear that nothing is up there. The kid immediately falls silent and walks out of the room, still looking up.
Oh, are they leaving? You're following them, huh?
And follows whatever it is back into the room, gesturing to try to persuade his parents to notice what she is looking at. She returns to the same position and nearly seems to want to be scooped up by anything she sees.
Oh my gosh. It's creeping me out.
If this is a spirit, then whatever form it's taking does not appear to upset the child. If anything, the toddler seems fascinated with its presence and wants to get a closer look. Tell me what you think if you believe a benign and negative spirit attempting to gain the confidence of a youngster. The video you are watching here captures the scenes of houses that have just been destroyed by bad weather. However, what surprised viewers the most was the image of a man wearing a blue shirt passing by and looking at the ruined house and then gradually disappearing.
Hopefully, they either were in a safe spot or away from their homes, and they have this to clean up.
Furthermore, if this is a clip taken from a live broadcast, this really confuses the viewer and requires a clear explanation. Exploring with Danny, a YouTube channel, returns to a haunted church that has given him unpleasant vibes in the past, and he's looking around again when he notices movement in the adjacent room.
What the hell was that?
When moving on to the next room, he finds it to be just as vacant as the first and notices nothing remarkable and proceeds to take notes on the numerous plaques on the wall. When Danny notices something strange peeking out from behind a doorway.
Oh my God!
He is looking over the names of soldiers, but the scream in his throat sounds very real when he turns to see the distinct outline of a nun's head peering through him. It's difficult to tell whether or not this is a real ghost. It happens swiftly. However, before you say fake, pay attention to what I'm saying. The nun appears 2 minutes into the video. However, the entryway is fully vacant at 1 minute 45, a full 15 seconds before the nun appears, and there appears to be no editing in the video since it was shot in one continuous take. As a result, I believe there is a good chance that this sighting is genuine. Carter is filming a YouTube video to flaunt his new roof, but he unintentionally captures something lurking inside his home during the process.
That's right. New roof. Shingles were delivered today. Old roof was torn off yesterday. New roof will be put on tomorrow. 6,000.
Through his own window on the left, a huge, oversized face is staring directly at Carter. Its eyes, mouth, and nose have been totally covered to create a macabre expression. I've watched this video several times and I still can't tell if this is the face of a monstrous creature or a reflection of the trees outside. Should it be a likeness of a tree? How the leaves or branches don't appear to be changing position at all and appear to be an unblinking face staring straight ahead, and Carter appears unconcerned and continues filming for quite some time. St. Petersburg's Luna Park is a well-known feature through this trip, and here is what the ride looks like normally. It seems to be a choke afraid to the point of snapping clean, and proves how near the motorcyclists are to tumbling hundreds of feet below. Or take a look at the apex of the journey, the cord to the left alive. The ride's tip is buckling by the pressure, seems to fall off, then saving team brought everyone to well-being, though they felt uncomfortable while drooping over 200 feet in the air. Daniel Wozniak is almost having a difficulty in saving money for his wedding, so he devises a twisted, sadistic, and strange solution that has Sam, his friend, assist in moving some things over to his apartment, but instead, he kills himself. Daniel says something to the police when he is apprehended a short time later.
Crazy, and I did it.
You did what?
I told him that I needed to move some stuff from the theater. I said, you need to bend down and help me lift this thing up. And when he bent down, I grabbed the gun.
And your motive behind killing Sam was?
Money and insanity.
Money and insanity. Okay.
And using Sam's ATM card to withdraw his entire life savings to pay for Daniel's wedding is his intention. In a park near Daniel's house, Daniel gets shot of his companion, and then goes to Sam's place and calls Sam's girlfriend named Julie to invite her over. Julie discovers Daniel instead of her boyfriend waiting outside when arriving, and Daniel says he wants her to watch something essential and allows them to come in with Sam's keys.
I went back out into the hallway and then said, oh, by the way, did you see this in Sam's bed? And I said, lean over, look at it right there. And when she was leaned over, I put 2 bullets in the back of her head.
It is clear that Daniel was not in one's right mind at that time, but this is all that he was thinking, and he expected the police to not believe Sam had murdered Julie, and then fled, but the deceit does not go as intended, and he is immediately apprehended.
It reached a point to where I couldn't even believe that I was doing this. I don't know.
And how did you murder him?
With
gun. I shot him in the head twice.
Okay.
3 shots were fired, 1 missed.
Jared Murray, who everyone always thinks was odd, was a student at East Central University in Ada, Oklahoma. One day, he got a fellow student to ride to Walmart in exchange for $20. Jared went inside right after the student consented happily and pulled a miniature firearm and started experimenting with it somewhere along the way. Then he directed his driver to the nearby town of Asher rather than Walmart.
Why did all of a sudden did you decide that you needed to go to Asher?
Because I was planning to take him out into the country and kill him.
Throughout the long travel, Jared and his partner talked about life in general and a variety of philosophical topics, and he appeared to be interested in playing with the young man's thoughts the entire time. Jared unchambered his firearm and handed both the firearm and the clip to the driver to make him comfortable at that time, and Jared later pulled a second firearm from his pocket. He loaded it hurriedly and fired it 3 times, then he escaped the sluggish car and permitted it to crash into a tree. After that he examined his prey.
I heard him gurgling. I'm not sure if that was a physiological or physical process after death, but I thought that he might have still lived through that somehow, because he was gurgling, so I shot him again and then shoved him down in the ditch.
During the questioning, the sheriff is looking for a reason why Jared did this, and he discovers that Jared holds no malice against this individual and that they were chosen after playing video games together 2 weeks previously. The sheriff seeks for a speck of humanity in Jared, but he never discovers it, and he was judged not guilty due to insanity and is now in a mental hospital. At some point, even the safest places to relax can become the most dangerous.
The water's beautiful.
Hey Heidi. Hey Heidi, get in the boat.
Are you being serious?
Yep.
Admiring the beautiful scenery of Key West, Heidi was caught in the eye of a large white object, or it could be a great white shark. Heidi continued to relax, not even looking back until she got back into the boat, which most likely saved her life. They realized how close she was to a real great white shark encounter as they looked into the water with horror.
Look. Look out. Look.
That would not have been fun.
Therefore, always remember that it doesn't matter where you go to relax. The important thing is that there is no vacation in the deep sea where you are always considered prey. Papa Jake goes back to a scary sewer tunnel at 3 a.m. because he and his friends believe there is a gigantic sewer creature down there, so they bring a lot of technology such as motion sensors and night vision to record it on camera. Their first encounter happens not in the tunnel itself, but rather in the surrounding woods.
Something's in the net! Something's in the net! Something is in the net!
What appears to be some type of a humanoid creature scampers across the forest floor on all fours. One of the 2 friends notices it, so I'm guessing he convinces himself that it was nothing, and they go on their way. Eventually, they find the tunnel after a short time, when a peculiar and haunting groan compels them to flee as soon as possible.
Oh Jesus, what was that?
They are extending far down, and the noise is coming from the same way they came from, so Papa Jake and his friend make an effort to leave the creature for 5 minutes. They find themselves lost and walk down a pipe, but someone is tailing them, appears to know every last twist and turn of this labyrinthine wasteland, and is determined to locate them swiftly. They all stop recording to flee for their lives, and Papa Jake now believes he has enough proof against the rake. Please tell me whether you believe this is real or not based on what you've observed, and their reactions appear to be genuine, though special effects are always a possibility. North by Wild West, a YouTuber, is spending Christmas with his family when a low rumbling noise from the woods draws everyone's attention.
Look at the tree. What was that? Oh my god. Did you see that?
Then they notice something dart behind the garage. They soon notice a gigantic black outline of a large beast stomping off in the distance.
No way.
That can't be.
What the?
Don't see it for a long period, but it appears again along their property line for a bit longer.
Oh my god.
I assumed that this video was a hoax because I didn't hear any true panic in their voices, but then I realized they simply sounded unsure of the situation, which is understandable. After all, this could be a real forest creature or someone dressed up as a gorilla. It may be a neighbor pulling a trick on him, but I believe their underwhelming reaction is real. A student is moseying the campus of California State University in Northridge when being pursued and grabbed by an unknown person who tails her into the Bookstein Hall of Economics and Business. She quickly pulls out her phone and begins garnering as much attention as she can.
Go ahead and tell everybody what the you're doing. What the are you doing? What love? I don't know you. Out of here!
While a mob of witnesses is unable to divert the man's attention from his singular focus as he attempts to seize her again. Tell me whether you're rock-ribbed enough to intervene on her behalf.
Doing what love? I don't know you. Out of here!
Bystanders intervene when the man's hands move from her hair to her neck. The 26-year-old man was detained and charged, but he had not been sentenced. And tell me if you were the judge based on what you've seen here. A stalker who has been showing up at his house disguised as a clown has been dealt with by J-Game, and he is very sure it's only a few local high school students that watch his channel. However, they have been growing bolder and something else.
I'm scared to be in my own house like that. That's a problem. This is Max.
When going back home one day, he discovers a disturbing note inside a damaged envelope with crimson stains all over it, which says, "We followed you home," on the outside, while says they'll come to get him at 2 p.m. on the inside, and J-Game decides to handle this problem himself. He sits at home all day waiting for them to arrive, then 2 loud bangs from outside send a rush of adrenaline through him hours later. He takes surreptitiously upstairs to see at his enemy more clearly, then notices someone costumed as a clown, complete with a terrifying mask and vivid orange hair, and the person doesn't look the size of a high schooler, quite huge. He discovers the gate is wide open, and they appear to be gone for the time being, but who knows when they will return. This video was recorded after hours at a business in Ogden, Utah, and everything is peaceful until a full-sized dish leaps from the cupboard and shatters all over the breakroom floor. A security guard on duty walks up and silently stares at the damaged plate for over 10 full seconds before grabbing another officer to verify what happened, and they check the shelf and find it to be in good condition. Should you have any explanation, tell me, and I have no idea how that dish could have fallen unless this entire video is a hoax and someone off camera pulled a cord. Craig Wilson, a YouTuber, opened it up a little more and was taken aback by what he discovered below, conducted some home repairs when he found a hole in his backyard.
This hole goes down, 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 to a giant cavern.
Craig wonders whether a gigantic earthen cavern extending 16 feet straight down was natural or man-made as he continues to film from such a great height. Craig swiftly sealed the hole. Always remember the massive underground threat that once threatened his home, and according to his and his wife's thoughts, there was a well around 60 or 70 years ago. When coming across a downed tree, Aquachiga is compulsory to investigate, and he notices an unusual shard in the newly turned ground right away.
Weird. What do you think?
This prompts him to look inside of the hole. He doesn't see anything else at first, but then...
Ooh, what's that? Stuff might just have gotten real, guys.
At first, Aquachiga doesn't notice anything else, but eventually, he hopes it's merely a tent made of green fabric. When discovering buttons, he realizes that this is someone's blouse because he sees more remains and turns them over and over, attempting to discern whether they are human or not. According to his mention, they are right next to the highway, and that cops discovered another body in a creek not far from here. Then he finds a deer jaw and other scattered animal remains, so he chooses not to call the cops. This was just animal remains, which can't explain the cloth he discovered, or how a couple of other bones appear like they could have belonged to a human, and please tell me what you think this was. Johnny Paranormal, a YouTuber, chooses to explore the iconic Aokigahara forest as well and amplifies the sound of his microphone in order to capture any ghostly sounds, and he is astonished by what he captures. For example, tell me if you hear a demonic growl here. Or a quick coughing noise here, despite Johnny Paranormal being all alone. Or a second person quietly whispering the word help.
How's this?
These strange sounds follow him throughout the entire video, which lasts around an hour and a half, so I believe it is far more editing than most people would be willing to put into a phony film. What concerns me is the demonic noise that accompanies him everywhere.
It's saying my battery's going flat. Again.
I hope nothing followed Johnny Paranormal out of the woodland if he was truly surrounded by the supernatural. Bryn psyched up to hike into Mount Fuji's famed Aokigahara forest that it doesn't take long for him to come upon a dark and scary entrance. He discovers an abandoned bike and the open packaging for a kitchen knife is lying on the seat. Unfortunately, this person came here with a single goal. A while later, he discovered an empty bag with only a message inside. He tries to read the Japanese writing and comes up short.
It says 1211. I can't quite make out. I think this is somebody's name just here. And I'm not sure what this means.
If you could read the message, then please share what it says with me so that we'll know once and for all. A crow caws right overhead when he has completed.
Later.
It's an ominous sign for sure, so Bryn decides to get out of there before anything bad happens. This video appears to have been shot in the 1990s while a child is sitting in a high chair happily learning about the numerous names of different parts of the body.
Where is...
Where's the ghost?
Ghost?
The child mumbles about a ghost when an invisible item follows, but I believe he said something along the lines of, "There's the ghost," or something like if he's seen it before and has been expecting to see it again. The child thinks for a bit and then says something else that's really weird.
Daddy, kill him?
Yeah.
It almost sounds like he's asking if his dad got the ghost, or something like that. Maybe we can find what's going on in the video's background together, but things return to normal for a while, and it appears that the paranormal encounter is over. He feels confused and looks around again, saying something utterly incomprehensible. Even if we knew who the child in this video was, I doubt they would recall anything useful. This video was allegedly shot during a family meal in Japan when a girl speaks and points behind the camera, but I'm not sure what she's saying.
Mama, Oji-chan ga kita yo.
All I know is that there is a grainy outline of a tall man standing in the doorway in the reflection of a nearby mirror. If you notice carefully, you can see a patch of dark hair on its head, but no face, and it can just be scripted because the timing is so perfect. Tell me if you believe this child was an actress, or this is a true story. Carly Wahaka has a 2-year-old kid who refuses to go into a specific area of the house, then she stands at the door, looking around timidly with her hand over her mouth, not even daring to go inside when her mother asks.
Wanna come in here? Okay, it's okay. Mommy will come out.
Years later, when the daughter knew to speak, she recalled a scary man who resided in the closet with flaming eyes and a red and black face. Tell me if you believe what she saw in the video or if the child is simply making up a terrible narrative to fool her parents. Her lad mentioned a kid named Marcus who would occasionally try to play with him, and everyone in the family would acquire deep red scrapes around the arms for no apparent cause.
Is he on the stairs? Is he standing there?
Yes.
Where?
When asked to identify the man on the stairs, the daughter's mother is intrigued and wants to learn more about her daughter's reaction.
Where's the man? Where?
No.
Show Mama where's the man.
In a British accent, her daughter says man stairs, and if the paranormal implications weren't so horrifying, it seems to be quite good. Finally, she's describing being watched by a stranger. You can see the girl becoming increasingly terrified to look up from her toys and does not want to see the man by the stairs anymore, albeit I have no idea what he looks like or what he's up to. The lass doesn't appear to be acting in any way that suggests she is fabricating a story, so I am inclined to believe this possible ghost sighting is genuine. Susan Payton 1 is enjoying some quality time with her family when she and her husband both notice something grab the attention of their infant toddler.
What am I doing?
The child's face changes from amusement to confusion as he apparently turns to watch something pass by. A few moments later, an orb silently appears, and something seems to move the child and potentially exit the room just as the children's song begins to sing "Say Bye Bye." Sailing Latitude, a YouTube channel, posted a video of a group of people sailing around the Italian island of Sardinia. Suddenly, a terrible thunderstorm hit and they had to face a dangerous situation on their own. The wind was blowing too hard and the thunder was extremely violent. They had no choice but to try to weather this storm. The most experienced navigator can estimate the two areas most hit by lightning. They decided to steer the boat between these two areas skillfully. However, the wind could change direction at any time and could bring the thunderclouds closer to them. Being trapped in a storm like this is an overwhelming experience. Like in this video, these people were trapped in this storm for 10 minutes and 15 seconds. In the end, they made it through and the sky cleared as if nothing had happened before.